Am I the asshole for making my eldest daughter babysit even though she is child-free? My wife and I have 3 kids. Tina, 19 female, Jason, 15 male, and Allie, 14 female. Late last year, my Sil passed away unexpectedly, leaving our niece Jenny, 4 female, orphaned. Her father is not in the picture. My wife and I, of course, agreed to take her in. It has been a huge adjustment for all 6 of us. Tina and Allie had to start rooming together. Allie is okay with this, but Tina has complained since we brought our niece home. In fact, whenever Jenny does anything typical of a 4-year-old that Tina dislikes, she will loudly and rudely comment that, "This is why I am childfree and will never have kids." A few weeks ago there were big changes in our childcare coverage, and now we lack coverage for about 2.5 hours mon fry. Jason and Allie both agreed to take 1 day of the week for babysitting duties. When we asked Tina to take on the other 3, she refused, stating she is child-free and means it. I told Tina that if she won't pitch in to help the family by babysitting, then she was no longer welcome to live in our home rent-free. I told her what we would be charging for her room and board, and she had a meltdown. She did a lot of yelling and screaming, but when she realized I was serious about kicking her out if she didn't pitch in, she agreed to take on the 3 days of babysitting. Our relationship has been tense. Tina says I am not being fair because she has to take 3 days when Jason and Allie only have to take 1 day each. I explained it is because they are still in high school and both are involved in after-school activities while she takes college classes part-time and online while only working weekends. Also because she is an adult and the other 2 are not. She has also called me sexist and says I am discriminating against her beliefs. Am I the asshole for forcing my adult daughter's hand in this? ETA. We can't really afford an outside babysitter right now. This was the reasoning behind charging my daughter room and board. I currently pay her school fees, car payment, car insurance, phone bill, all of her groceries, health insurance, and utilities. I was charging her less in room and board than what her lifestyle costs monthly. If she doesn't want to babysit, she is free to stay here if she pays the amount we said in room and board. She would have to take on more hours at work to do so though. So, 2.5 hours a day for 3 days. A total of 7.5 hours a week. X $15 per hour is $112.50 per week. By 4 weeks is $450 per month. So about $450 a month of babysitting in exchange for free rent, utilities, food and whatever else you might be covering. That sounds reasonable. Not the asshole. Edit. Thanks for the award. Not the asshole, but holy shit, a lot of people in the replies here are. I commend you for taking in a new child and trying to help. Your daughter needs to grow up and either help the family or move out if she wants to act so mature and independent. Not the asshole. I think every so often, people have to take one for the team. You're asking an adult for 7.5 hours of work per week in return for free room and board. I think that's fair. Not the asshole, and I'm confused as to why you're getting you or the asshole judgments. It's a huge adjustment for everyone, and it's not like y'all are subjecting her to parentification. If she's not happy, she can move out and pay rent elsewhere. Not the asshole if she doesn't want to help your household while getting free everything. Then she needs to move out and learn that babysitting for 6 hours a week was worth the food, the rent, and not paying bills and running a household. Men babysit too. Tell her not to be sexist. Not the asshole. Your daughter is dead ass wrong and you know it. I'm sorry, but somewhere along the way she became a spoiled, entitled brat if this is how she behaves. I mean, the sheer nerve of her to loudly proclaim she will remain child-free in the presence of her cousin? How is that remotely acceptable? If she doesn't want to have kids, that's her choice. It doesn't absolve her of caring for members of her family when they need it. I mean, this girl's mother died and your kid is making this about her freedom of thought? Please let me get my fainting couch. Good for you telling her to take a hike if she can't help out a reasonable amount. I mean, it's 2.5 hours 3x a week? She's an aw. Update. Am I the asshole for not giving my mother my brother's number? Hi guys. So it's been really hard these past few days. My mom was just getting worse and my dad wasn't coming home until like 3 a.m. I couldn't even spend time with my mother because every time I saw her, all she did was ask me for my brother. Whenever I said no, she'd start crying and my dad would get mad at me. I tried so hard to not let this affect me. I read everyone's comments when it got too hard. I was scared of asking my brother for help as well and stopped messaging him just in case. I didn't go to school for an entire week. My parents didn't care and I slept more than I ever had. I ignored everyone but my cat and I won't lie, sometimes I want to do it again. This went on for a few days. But then my brother showed up. I haven't seen him in person in weeks and the house is filled with bad memories for him, so it was a surprise. No one was home except me, so I let him in and the first thing he did was hug me. I won't lie. I cried like a fucking baby and told him everything. I didn't want to burden him with my problems and I felt horrible for dumping everything onto him, but he told me that it's okay and that's what big brothers are for. He also told me that he had spoken to my mom and dad before coming to see me. He decided to give them a call after I stopped replying to his texts, phone calls. I don't know what they talked about and I'm fine not knowing. But apparently they agreed that it would be best if I stayed with my brother for a while. Until my mother gets better or whatever comes first. Overall, I'm glad that I posted on here. IDK what I'd do if my brother decided he wanted to cut me out of his life. I was very close to giving my parents his number. I don't think I would've, but again, the thought was definitely there and posting on here got rid of that thought. My brother told me that he's thankful, but I should have let him know that they were forcing me. He said that I come before how he feels, which just made me cry some more. Thanks for being nice about everything. If it were me, I would be so proud of my sister for staying so strong and keeping my privacy. He seems like a great man, and you were so strong how you handled this. Even if it doesn't feel like you were. Also great to hear that you'll be staying with him for a while. This situation doesn't seem healthy for you at all with your parents. I hope you can both work on healing together. Original. You did great by staying strong, insisting on saying no, and that good karma came to reward you. Your brother comes across as a great guy. I hope the two of you will stay close. I hope you're bringing your cat with you, 2 hearts catface. I'm so glad you have your brother. Go to your brother's house and get yourself together. Big brothers are usually pretty amazing and it looks like yours is. You and your brother are lucky to have each other. Even though you haven't been super present in each other's lives, it's clear how much you care for each other. I hope your mom's condition improves as well. My mom has cancer when I was 16 and it was so hard on everyone. I wish you the best. Am I the asshole for telling my mom I won't come home if she replaces my dead brother? So I, 18F, had a brother. He was the best thing in the world, but he died 3 years ago and everything changed. Dad left mom and moved back to Montreal, and mom changed a lot. She went from being the absolute best mom ever to either super strict or like super careless. Ever since I turned 18, she got even weirder. She had her girlfriend remove the door to my room. She's come into my room at night and started massaging my arms and legs like she used to my brother. He had severe muscle issues, or will cuddle like we did after my brother died. Oh, and she cranks up the heat so much all the time and says it's 'cause she's from Texas, but even though she was born there, she grew up in Quebec. That's just to let you guys know how much she changed. The only time she's normal like how she was is during our therapy sessions. That's why I look forward to those. But the worst part was that she and her girlfriend have decided to have a baby and they're using one of those websites to find a sperm donor. At the time, they started focusing on guys who I feel my brother would have looked like if he grew up. And then, mom told me if they have a boy the name will be the Russian version of my brother's name and if a girl, the female version. So, if his name was Michael, then Mikhail and Michaela. So, I told my mom she couldn't replace my brother and we got into a fight 'cause of it. And then yesterday mom had a complete freak out. Apparently there was some children's book she used to read my brother when he was a small and she wanted to find it for when she has another baby. But she couldn't find it. I offered to order a new copy off Amazon, but she wanted my brother's book. She went nuts after she couldn't find it, and when she found an old picture of my dad, she literally took her girlfriend's lighter and burned it instead. I don't know, I got scared, so I begged mom not to replace my brother and said I wouldn't come home from Montreal. I got into Concordia University, if she did. She got even angrier and started crying, actually called me an asshole for trying to blackmail her. I'm really confused. She's never said that before, so maybe I was acting that way toward her. She needs to get help before she brings another child into this world. She's gonna traumatize the child by trying to turn them into the new Michael. Not the asshole. Sounds to me like your mother needs some professional help as soon as possible. She isn't grieving appropriately. It isn't okay for her to take your door away or come into your room and touch you, in any manner, without your consent. If she isn't willing to get help, you need to get yourself out of this situation. This is a hard one. Your mother is clearly in need of more intensive therapy. No assholes here. She is grieving. She is depressed by what you're saying, but you are right in the sense she just can't replace Michael. This is hard. If you leave and never come back, that will hurt her even more though. This is too difficult for just a Reddit post, but I hope you both find healing. Not the asshole, and you really need to bring up these behaviors in your joint therapy sessions. By faking normalcy in therapy, she is keeping herself from getting the help she truly needs, so call her out in front of the therapist. Make a list of the concerning behaviors and address it with the professional there. Not the asshole. I don't want to be rude, but your mom sounds unhinged. Grief after losing your child must be one of the worst things one can go through, but wow. This sounds like an unhealthy obsession. In her grief for her dead child, she managed to start ruining her relationship with her alive one as well. Hope things get better for you, skeptical smiley face. Not the asshole. My condolences. Your mother may need more therapy than she's been getting. If there's an aunt or a family member you can trust to reach out to who lives closer, you may want to call them. Does her girlfriend seem to think that this behavior is normal? Am I the asshole for leaving a $0 tip at a restaurant? So my wife, 34 female, forgets her ID and I, 33 male, order a drink at a restaurant we frequent often. Obviously they wouldn't serve my wife a drink because she couldn't present an ID. We could be considered regulars with how often we are there. Regularly spend $150 $200 a night and tip 20–30%. The people working tonight are not the regular staff. My wife has maybe 3 discreet sips of my drink, not in front of the server, and I want to order another drink. The server refuses to give me another drink because he says we are sharing drinks and watching our table like we are little kids. Mind you, the whole time he sets up people in the restaurant to police us and watch our table when he can't. Barely gives any service. Except when we're done with our food. I have no problem with them not serving my wife because yes, the law says no drinks if you don't have ID, but you deny me, a grown 33-year-old man with a wedding ring, on a second drink. Even if the liquor board is there, they check to make sure people who are drinking are ID'd. They're not going to make a fuss if someone has a sip who is obviously over 21. None of your business what happens at our table. You're not top flight security. Left a $0 tip. Am I the asshole? YTA. It's your wife's fault, not the server. Alcohol laws are strict and businesses can lose their license over people like you. Then you leave no tip for someone making $3 an hour because your wife forgot her ID. You are the asshole. If you forget your ID, you cannot drink. Your wife forgot her ID. You should have either gone back for it or not ordered drinks. The restaurant could lose its liquor license for serving you without an ID. I wouldn't go back to that restaurant, by the way. You made a fuss over your mistake and then didn't tip, and if you go back to that restaurant your food will be 80% spit by volume. You are the asshole. For all they know, you're undercover cops testing them. You are the asshole. It actually is their business what happens at your table with the alcohol they served you. The only person to blame for your wife forgetting her ID is her. You decided not to tip because they were following the law. Grow up. Learn to face the consequences of your own actions. You are the asshole. It is absolutely the waitstaff's business what happens at your table, that's their job. To wait on your table. Also, most jurisdictions have harsh and chilling penalties for serving people who don't present ID. In mine, the restaurant can be fined $50,000 and the server can be fined $10,000 for violating this rule, and the government sends mystery shoppers around to ensure compliance. Your server values their job. Info. What does wearing a ring have to do with anything? 18-year-olds are getting married these days, and people that aren't married also wear rings on their ring finger. If it's law you need ID to indulge in alcohol, then the server is right. You are not. You are the asshole for not tipping because you had a tantrum over being denied a second drink.